Shall we? I'm not really sure if you're ever going to see this video, but I guess if you're seeing this, this means that I succeeded. I'm here at this little house on the lake, and I'm gonna try and record a tape. That's the goal. Let's see how it goes. So, let me give you a quick tour of the house. Let me try and get something to eat, and then I'm gonna try and unpack and show you what I brought in terms of gear. So, while we're out here in the forest, we're not gonna be sitting around the house all day, locked up in the studio, so to speak. We're going to also go out and hunt for some mushrooms and maybe for some samples. Why do I even bother recording to tape? I mean, I have a Zoom L20 at home that has amazing sound quality. I love working with that thing. But there's something about the tape, especially for me. I mean, there's this nostalgia aspect to it. I used to only listen to tapes, especially during my, let's call them formative years. I had my Walkman and my tapes recorded from vinyl or from other places. There was this sort of softness and roundness to the sound. I know it's super vague to call it that. And it's probably not that it's objectively great, but it's just something that resonates with me, that I sort of grew up with, and something that I really, really like. And the next thing is, as cliche as it sounds, is that I want to embrace those happy accidents that are happening with tape, and I want to get as far away from the clarity and sort of perfectionism of working in a DAW. What I thought would be cool if in addition to those sounds that I sampled in the forest, we would also use some of the tape sounds. Okay, so it's day 2 of our recording session. Sunday. It's actually late afternoon right now, early evening, and yeah, I slept in today, decided to get some breakfast and sleep a little bit more, then went to the forest, and now I'm making a little barbecue. So I have 4 tracks on the tape, and it's 30 minutes because you can only use one side. I have 2 60-minute cassettes and the brands, the models that are recommended for my 4 track. It makes sense for 30 minutes of material to really divide them into 4 segments, sections, songs. Then what I want to do is select the keys for each of the acts. So let's say the first one is going to be E, not even minor, major, I don't care, just the tonality of it. And then what I'm going to try and do is I will create some ambient sort of pedal notes. I'm going to record 30 minutes of ambient with some guitar noodling on top of that. I'm hoping that the sort of some harmonic ideas, maybe some lyrical ideas are going to come to me. Then I'm going to start recording the actual music on top of that. But what I want to do is I want to pause the recording so that the original noodling is going to still sort of come up in a sort of random fashion. I also think it's a good opportunity to talk about this channel and this platform in general. So I started it in 2015, I think, inspired by Berg, and I wanted to make similar videos to his. And I started doing that, and the quality of those early jams was not very good, of course, but at the same time I realized that no one's going to care about those jams if there's no additional content on the channel. So I started making this primarily as a way to maybe promote the music. It was fun and it kept me sort of engaged and in a sense maybe a little relevant in the world of music, something that I kind of always wanted. But then as I was trying to improve the quality of what I do, I became increasingly stressed out and frustrated, mostly by my delivery. I was sort of trying harder and harder to increase the quality of the audio, of the video, and also of my delivery. And towards the end of this process, my delivery was super strained. I was delivering like short, quick sentences that I had to re-record a number of times to get them right, and then I was frustrated when editing and all that. So this is a bit of an experiment, and if my delivery is all over the place in this video, then I mean I apologize. I'm trying to find my pitch, my tempo, my tone, and a way for me to speak to the camera in a way that's easy for me to do, but also not extremely boring and frustrating for you to listen to. As you know, when you're making music, what happens sometimes is that, you know, at night you're preparing a jam, you're working on something, and you're like, yeah, that's the best thing ever. And then the next morning you turn it on and you're like, what is that? It's pretty poor. But yesterday was kind of the opposite. I hated the jam yesterday, but today, as I'm listening to it, maybe it's not as horrific as I thought. Let's hear it. So what's important for me to remember in all of this is that if I just decide not to do it anymore and just pack all my gear up and just, you know, walk through the forest and sleep and, you know, play some acoustic guitar for the rest of the trip, that's okay. The goal in here is to relax, feel comfortable, and if this means not recording a tape, I'm totally fine with that. One thing that's always very cool to me is when you put a tape from a 4-track into a regular player. I have this Walkman in here, and so now we hear tracks 1 and 2 playing in the correct direction, and tracks 3 and 4 playing in reverse. So it's all mushy and messy. So all in all, a pretty productive day, I would say. Right now, what I should do is listen to all 4 noodles that I have and select interesting material in them. So if there are any chord progressions that I liked, or if there are any melodies that I like, or riffs that I like, I'd like to sort of extract them now from the tape, because I will pretty much record over it very, very soon. I'm thinking about recording some spoken samples to cue the tracks in there. This is something that works kind of cool, but I'm not sure what samples I want to use yet, so we'll see. a nice melody. And this would fly quite nicely over the... really work nicely. The idea for vocal samples that I had before did not really work out. So instead what I'm doing is, I'm stealing off of YouTube, of course. And here's the setup that I have. So we're listening to the great Sean Carroll.
It seems to us that under different circumstances we feel time passing at different rates. Time seems to go faster when you're older, right? When you're young, the summer seems to stretch out forever. When you're older, it seems to go by really quickly because you're seeing less novelty when you're older, because you've been to the beach before when you're older. Fewer new memories are being accumulated, so time seems to pass longer.
I think I'm done for the day. I put those Sean Carroll samples all over the tape in specific timestamps, and trying to maintain the volume and also the sort of the vibe of the backing track. And things I think are coming together slowly. So, day 6, it's about time to put some actual music to tape. I've been sort of dreading this moment because before you actually record something, the options are limitless. The tape could be a masterpiece, but after you actually record something, then you know that it's going to be just a regular type of thing that you always do. So it's always a bit of a scary moment, but I think everything's ready, good to go. So let's try and record something. We have 10 minutes of material. So considering that we have 2 more days left and we need to have 30 minutes and we managed to do 10 minutes one day, if all goes well, we should have a tape ready by the end of this trip. See you tomorrow. So we've encountered a major technical issue that sort of puts the entire operation possibly on hold, because the first channel on the 4-track stopped working. So in here we previously had the ambient track, but now, as you can hear, nothing's audible, only noise, and when I press stop, it's going to like blow up the first channel in here, and that's it. The first channel is completely inaccessible, however the data should be still there. I just cannot record onto the first track, and I cannot listen back to what's happening on the first track. So I think the session is still salvageable. It's not going to be, you know, as cool as it's used to be before, but basically I transferred all of my ambient tracks to track 4, and I still have track 2 and 3 as a stereo that I can use. And basically the concept is to finish everything like that, and then we're going to later, after the 4-track is fixed, we're going to sort of record whatever I feel like recording onto track 1. It's done. The tape is here. Yes. 30 minutes of material delivered exactly as I wanted it to, without asking too many questions and just sort of going for it. So we'll see if it's musically any good. Hopefully, yeah. The really cool takeaway from this process is that I found some very interesting benefits of using tape as a medium. So one thing that was super cool is I would not worry about syncing things up, because of course, I mean, there's no real way to sync it up. So whatever had to be synced via MIDI, I would sync it during the recording process in one take. And then everything else I would just either sync manually according to the same clock, or just sort of play by hand, and that will be good. The second cool thing that I really liked is no latency. So there's always challenges, you know, when recording digitally with latency. In here, the only latency was coming from the effect units, really. I'm super happy with the tape workflow. Not so stoked about the 4-track being broken, but I already found a place that might repair it. Hopefully it's not going to be too expensive. Once I get the 4-track back, I'm going to be able to listen to the full thing properly, and maybe either mute or add something to the first track if necessary. All in all, a pretty good trip, I would say. And the really cool thing is that it exactly worked out as I wanted to. Alright, so it's about a month later. I'm back home and the 4-track is fixed. So now I can go back and revisit properly everything that I managed to record during that tape retreat, as I'm calling it right now. So let's see what we got. Having listened to it, I have a few takeaways. It was a good decision to record all of the background ambient tracks to separate 4 tracks. I remember at some point during the recording process, I think I mentioned that it was a stupid idea, that I should have recorded everything to track 1. Turned out it was a pretty good idea, because had I recorded everything to track 1, I would have lost everything. And definitely I wouldn't be able to finish the project out there in the wild. The second thing is that because I lost 1 track, I did not manage to record all of the instruments, so the final 2 songs of the project sound kind of empty, maybe a little bit boring, so they could definitely use some additional instrumentation that I'm going to record to track 1. And then the final takeaway is that I think it was a mistake and a wasted time to hunt for those physics samples from Sean Carroll. As much as I love Sean Carroll, when I listen to this right now, it feels a little bit cheesy. And I feel like I did not give myself enough credit as a songwriter, and was absolutely convinced that I have to rely on sort of contextual and verbal crutches in order to convey the message. But I actually think that the music conveys the message that I wanted perfectly. I'm very happy with what the music means to me personally. And by having those definite, sort of defining spoken samples, maybe takes away from some of the other interpretations that other people might have, I feel. What I'm planning to do is basically prepare some more ambient, some more noises, some more weird sounds, and I'm just going to punch this in whenever I have the spoken sample to get rid of it. Alright, so it's 6 months later from the last recording and about a year later from the original tape retreat recording that I made. And now I'm ready to finish the tape. I'm actually in Lisbon right now with one of my best friends, Margot. She recently opened a little studio in here, so I came to visit. And we're thinking, what could be our project for the time? And I said, yeah, I have a tape to finish. It's about time to finish it, and we're gonna try and do it. We have about 3 to 4 days to do it. There's not a lot of work, and I'm going to try and get everything done that I mentioned in the last video. We actually have an idea already for the first replacement to get rid of the vocal samples. And yeah, let's see how it goes. But first, let me give you a quick tour of the studio.
This is the studio.
What is it called?
Sound 4 Studios.
Okay, good.
Just want to show off our beautiful screen.
We have a screen.
This is our sound mixing stage, like a home format. Behind the screen over there, soon there will be more rooms for sound design and Foley. Currently this is our sound design look over here with all of our equipment combined, which is fun. And the most important place that you can't see right now is the director's couch, because this is where it's being filmed from. This is the coziest place of the
Looks
studio.
pretty dark.
Yeah, like,
That's
it's a
right.
couch. It needs
Yeah.
to be dark and cozy.
And so what do you do in here?
Right now, just cleaning all the time. But in the future, we're going to be filming, mixing films here. I'll be making my music here, and we're going to host some residencies, as we're doing right now. This is our test residency, so now we're troubleshooting what do we need to add. Like now we know we're lacking power plugs and some air, which is fixable, which we're going to fix soon. And yeah, mainly it's sound design, film mixing for film, and music making and Foley recording stage.
Sounds exciting. All right, so let's get to work. Let's get this thing done. So, how do you feel about what we managed to achieve yesterday?
I thought that we are running ahead, that very soon we will run out of things and run out of tape to do, and we will write a new album in 2 days. And I was like, super speed, super speed.
Good. How do you like the vibe in the studio with everyone?
I love it. I didn't expect it to be like, I knew that it's going to be challenging with the space, because like we just got small tables and we're trying to fit everything, and I thought, oh my god, it's going to be so uncomfortable and we're going to be struggling, but I don't think we were struggling because we were just so much in the mood, and it was like a laid back kind of environment.
So we changed the idea because wasn't working out, because we already have a lot of chords in there. So we're going to do what? Let's try. I think the tape is done. It's here. And the last track was pretty long and we just improvised. And it's been something I've been dreaming about doing for a long time. So I was basically playing guitar, like really 2 notes on the E bow. And Margot was tweaking with the modular here. And my guitar was coming into the modular, the no coast, and we were doing some crazy stuff with it. And it was first take. When we were recording, we thought, yeah, maybe not everything was perfect, but it's actually, this not being perfect is perfect.
High five.
High five. What do you think?
It's better than I wanted. It was just so much fun. And just, I don't know, it was like a therapy in a way, all of this. Like I feel much more confident playing a concert the day after tomorrow, and just generally I feel like we blessed the space, because it's the first project that we did here, like
but we complete it like nicely. So we kind of set up it for a good start. Thank you so much!
So it's been a couple of days since I came back from Lisbon, and I have to say it was just an amazing trip. It was exactly what I wanted to, and it made me think that it was actually a good thing that track 1 died on me a year ago at the lake, because it gave us the opportunity to perform a lot together, not just fill in the blanks on the areas that I wanted to touch up, but also get some time together to improvise. And I have to say, working with Margot is such a huge pleasure. We seem to sync up creatively really well, and it's always very exciting and inspiring working together. If you want to check out her music, definitely go check out Grisly Faye. An amazing project, some great songs, and overall great performance. So yeah.
Forgive every song you wrote. All your beats are stuck inside my throat. I shout out every line you sang the day we met. Although I hoped it never ends.
Now comes the time to do a final performance of this piece, which involves basically working with the faders and working with pan. And it has to be one continuous, uninterrupted 30-minute performance throughout the duration of the tape. I'm not going to be, stopping it and punching it and, connecting this in a DAW later. It doesn't make sense. And it scares me a little bit, to be honest with you. The finality of the performance, the final performance, I even phrased it that way. So I've been thinking, it doesn't have to be a final performance, it's going to be just one of the performances. So Margot gave me an idea to set it up on Bandcamp so that there's an option to order a tape. But I was thinking, I can also offer in there, if anyone's interested really, this option to do another performance, but this time directly to tape, analog to analog. It would be without mastering, of course, but it would be different each time, slightly, of course, only slightly different, but there would be a different vibe to it. So maybe this way the performance that I'm about to capture is not going to be the final performance. I'm ready to finally record the performance of the entire thing. Alright, so I have two tapes in here. Side A and side B. And side A is all the beats that I made out there at the lake. And side B are all the ambience that I made in preparation for the actual recording. So now, in order to have a full tape, I'm going to try and perform both of them. So what do I mean by performing? I have 4 tracks recorded. So in here, this is a stereo track, which is 2 and 3. And then the lead track sort of with vocals and with guitars and with other things. And what I need to do is adjust the levels and sometimes adjust the pan. So here are my notes for side A.
And then for side B, I'm going to perform those ambients. Side B is going to be more sort of relaxed and more of a ambient experience, while side A is going to be the proper arranged stuff. So I think this is pretty exciting. This is a good idea, and let's see how this works.